Welcome, everybody. Come in. Welcome to Zangel Digital Academy. Hey, grade 12s, or anyone that is joining us today specifically interested in CAT or Excel as a skill. But more specifically, hey to the grade 12s, as today we are doing question 4 from paper 1 of the 2024 November exam. All right, the spreadsheet question is worth around 19 marks, and we'll be working with the first shows spreadsheet. So after you've downloaded your data file, you then obviously need to follow the steps. Then from there, it's within the question paper, we need to work on the four shows. It's a spreadsheet or an Excel file that is named four shows that you need to open. This is how it would look once it's open. And we need to break down each task exactly on how we need to answer the paper that we're going to receive at the end of the year. All right, so over here, your four shows, this is four shows. As you can see over here, it will have two tabs called sheet and session. So these are the two tabs. However, on this copy that I have, I've inserted a tab called questions so that we can actually go through the questions when you are also practicing on your side. So this is how your questions will actually look from the past papers from 2024, the final year exam. So we need to start with the first question. Obviously, you need to read the instructions and the notes. So you can go over these. As you can see, all the instructions are there. We will jump straight into without wasting time, because hopefully you've been prepared to attend or actually look at this demonstration. And on your side, you also have Excel open. If you don't, you can also have your own Excel open so that you're actually following. And from your luxury, you can actually slow down the speed if I'm too fast for you, or make the speed faster if I'm too slow for you. Or if you're advanced, you can directly, on another screen, watch this and at the same time do it on your side, so that you can actually see more than what you are seeing from a normal typical memo, which is on a paper. So this is actually a proper demonstration of the full question 4 with 19 marks. Okay, let's jump into it. The first question, which is 4.1, is all about renaming sheet 1 to shows. So it says rename sheet 1 to shows. So what we need to do, we need to start by right-clicking on sheet 1. So this is sheet 1. I clicked on it so that it's I just enter into it with my left click. And once I'm in, I right-click. And then at the bottom, you'll see an option that says, so over here, you'll see an option that says rename. You need to click on this option, rename, and then you can type on your keyboard shows. So now I have typed shows, and you can hit enter, or you can just click away. I'm going to hit enter, and done. Your 1 mark, just like that. Right, moving on to question 4.2. Going back to our question, 4.2 says, insert a function in cell D3 to determine the fourth highest number of people that will attend a show. All right, now we need to go into our sheet, which is shows. Right now it's called shows, and we need to go to column D and cell number 3. So if we click on here, it's also saying 4.2, and you can verify over there that it's the same cell. It is D3. So this is where we need to have our answer. So in order for us to type the formula, you can just type equals, or you can jump to the formula bar. So I've clicked on this formula bar, but you must also remember to click on this cell as well. So it doesn't matter. Here we are in D3, and we want to find the fourth highest number of people attending a show. So we need to use a function called large. So we're going to say equals, then type in large. So Excel is going to give us this option here. We want to click on this option. So we clicked on large. So now we're opening to use this function. And we're saying look in cells G10. So G actually is the cell. So you need to also remember to identify which column has the information that you want to use. So in our case, the number of people are in column G. So here we're going to say, we're going to actually use only the cells that have numbers. So we're saying, Mr. Excel, look into cells G10 up to G62, which is the full range. So up to G62, and give us the fourth highest value within these values. So now we've opened our formula. We're going to highlight. We highlight up to G62, or you can type it as G62 colon and then G10 colon G62. But quite nice interacting with Excel just by simply highlighting. And then we want to close our bracket. So I'm busy now swiping up my Excel using my mouse, the roller key in the middle. That's how you can swipe up and down without coming to the side while I still have my formula. Okay, so after that I can press enter. Okay, sorry, it seems like we're not done with our, so this happens actually in Excel, because now, as you can see, this formula says we want to first select the array, and then after that we need to give a comma, and then after that K, which is the number. So K means the number, so we want to find the fourth highest number. So it was a great thing that I just applied the formula and just press enter, so that you can see the actual function is not done, so we're still missing information. So now we need to find the fourth highest. So we're going to enter number 4. So we're telling it to find the fourth highest, and it returned 79, which is the fourth highest value within these values here. So if you used your naked eye, you would actually take quite a number of minutes to get it, but you'll actually see number 79 within this as well. So there's number 79. Right, so now to the next question. So the next question, which is question 4.3, which says insert a function in cell D5 to calculate the total number of people who will attend the Milky Way shows. All right, so now we go back to our sheet, and then we want to go into cell D5, which is the one just below. So D5, where it says 4.3. So in D5, let's calculate the total number of people attending the Milky Way shows. So we want to start off with the formula, which is equals. So what we're going to use a SUMIF, which checks column D. So we'll use SUMIF, which will check in column B for Milky Way, and adds up matching values from column G. All right, so we're going to go onto cell D5. So in cell D5, we're going to calculate the total number of people attending the Milky Way show. So we're going to start off by using equals, but over here we're going to use a function called SUMIF, because we want to sum if something meets a condition. So SUMIF will check column B for Milky Way. So we're going to use column B as a reference. So we first need to identify and adds up matching values from column G. So column G, which will be the number of people. So we're going to start off by equals, typing sum. We want to choose SUMIF, not SUMIFS. SUMIF, as you can see on the formula, it's SUMIF. And then we want to go on to column B, which is looking at whether there's a show name. So what's the show name? So we're going to highlight everything from B10 to B62. That's our range. Then the formula is saying the next is the criteria. We're just going to go up the criteria. We're going to put a comma, then the criteria here will be Milky Way. So what we're going to do in double quotes, we're going to type M, double quotes, and then type Milky Way. So that you're telling Excel this is a string or a text that we want to find within. So if it was a cell reference, you wouldn't need to put double quotes, or if it was a number. But now, because we are searching for a text, we're putting in double quotes. Then after that, we want to say what is the range that we want to sum. So after that, you put a comma. Then the range that we want to sum is in column G, which is the number of people. So now we're going to select that range as well. Then to complete our formula, just need to close our brackets. Then yeah, it's give us 181. So that is the total number of people attending the Milky Way show. So just using the function SUMIF. All right, let's move on to 4.4. So 4.4 is all about looking up for the session. So let's look at 4.4. It says insert a function in cell C10 to determine the session for Peter's B. So we're looking for the session for Peter's B and use the show time and the session worksheet. So we're going to use the show time and the session worksheet to actually find this. So this looks like we'll be using a function called VLOOKUP because we're going to look up something from somewhere else. Okay, we go back. So we want to go to cell C10. Cell C10. So here we want to know, is it morning, afternoon, or a night session? All right, so we're going to now start by our VLOOKUP equals VLOOKUP. Then we want to select F10. F10 is the time, because now we want to look at the time within the show, whether is it a morning or an afternoon or an evening. So we're going to VLOOKUP this time. Where do we want to VLOOKUP this time? In the session sheet. Then here we want to select this whole table from A1 to B4, and then after that we say comma, and then our column index. Our column index is column from here, column number 2. So we count 1, 2. Then after that we want to say exact match. Then we close, and then we can still jump back to our shows, but our formula is still intact, and we can press enter. So now we've returned night. So that's our formula. So the session for Peter's B will be a night session. So now we have our answer for 4.4. Right, let's move on to 4.5. So now we need to insert a formula in cell D12 to determine the number of days from the current date until the show begins. Okay, we're going to go back to our sheet. We now want to look at column or cell D12. Column D, cell 12. So in cell D12, we want to calculate how many days until the show starts by subtracting today's date from whenever you're doing it from the date of the show. All right, now we're going to go back. So important information is the date of the show and today's date. So we're first going to say when is the show and when is today's date. All right, so it might show a negative if you're within the future, because this was a paper from 2024, but we can, so I think for this instance, so the date that we want to look at is 2024 12/21. So just for this instance, because we're in 2025, let's change this into 2025, and we're going to use this date and subtract today's date. So now we're going to say that it's going to be on the 21st of December in 2025 and subtract today, so that we don't have negative. So that's the only thing we've just adjusted for this session. So we're going to say equals this date, which is in the future, because now we're in 2025, minus, then we want to type today. So Excel allows us to select today, then you just want to close that. And then if there's 209 days before the show starts. So let's also look at it let's go back. If we use the same date, which is in the past, we'll say that date minus today. It will give us a negative, and it will say we are already 156 days after the show. That's why it's minus. So basically that's how that works, right? So that's the only difference that you'll see, but for your paper it might be in the future. Okay, let's now move on to the last question, which is question 4.6, which says the final cost is calculated by multiplying the cost per person with the number of people and then you give a discount if applicable. The discount is given as follows. So these are all the things that we're going to need to build into our formula. So this is going to be a master one. If the session is a morning session and the organization is a school, then give 5% discount. And if the organization is a business, give 3% discount. No discount is given in all other cases. So we're only giving discounts in those cases. So those are the things we need to build into our formula. So we need to insert a nested if in cell J10 to calculate the final cost. Cell J10, we look at J is our formula, is our column, then cell 10. This is where we're going to have our monstrous formula. All right, so let's first recap on the rules. It says if the session is morning and the organization is a school, let's give 5% discount. And if the organization is a business, give 3%, or else no discount. So that's what we're gonna use in our formula. So we're gonna start with a function called if. So equals if, then we're gonna select if. But remember, we also have an and. So we need to nest the if within an and. So before we start our if, we need to then say and, because we're gonna look at two things, if and and. So now we're gonna then say, we said if and in the start. Now we're gonna go to the information that we want to use. If H10, which is the organization, which is private, so we select H10. If H10 equals, in inverted commas or double quotes, it equals a school. As we can see already, it's not a school, it's private. However, we have to select that cell because when you take the formula down, it will then be dynamic in order to determine these criteria. So if it's a school, and so now we say comma C10, where we're gonna say if C10 is equals to morning. Remember our rules. We said if it's morning and the organization is school, let's type 5%. So we need to type that into our formula. If it's a school and if it's morning, type morning in double quotes. We close. That's the first rule. And then we include another comma, which here we say if the value is true, what do we do? So if this is the school and it's in the morning, Mr. Excel, calculate this. So in bracket, we're going to say go to I10. So I10, column I10 is the cost. So I'm just going to select here. So I10, we want to times I10, which is the cost, by G10, the number of people. So cost per person times 3 people. If this is true, this is what we're doing. And then give a 5% discount by timesing this by 0.95. So that means we are giving a 5% discount. If that's true, then we say comma. So this is our first kind of criteria. If this is a school and it's morning, take the total cost per person, times it by 3 people and give 5% discount. Then another function that we need to, which is the other kind of rule that we want to do, we start again with if H10 again. So H10 is so looking at if it's also a business, so we're doing something similar, but now we're saying business. If it's a business, then we also calculate. We're going to calculate. You're going to say I10 times G10, which is that G10, and give a 3% discount. So here we're gonna do it similar to that, but now we're gonna say 0.97, which means 3% discount. Or else, so now the last thing of our formula, if the value is false, if it's none of these, if it's not a school and it's not morning and it's not a business, then calculate the full fee, where we're going to say now, just calculate I10 times G10. And then we close our bracket. So that's our full formula. Enter. Okay, let's just see. Yeah. And now it says 675 is our final cost. So you can actually drag this down to see from the other cells as well what would the actual final cost will be. So dependent, so it will give a discount, a 5% discount if it's a school and it's a morning, and then give a 3% discount if it's a business. Or else it will calculate the full cost if it's none of those. And yeah, that's it. That's the final marks. And just make sure your logic and order correct. And this session alone, you can get full marks if you practice just the basic logic, because this is mostly logic in terms of the functions, and breaking it down into kind of simple English, then, or any language that you're using, then bring it back to the actual coding. When you're actually writing your code or formula or syntax, you then say it in kind of the language, but actually writing it in the syntax logic. And all the best.